You know who went to Harvard Law School, folks, was Ted Cruz. And the one thing I want to remind you about Ted Cruz is that Donald Trump called his wife ugly publicly and accused his father of assassinating JFK.
What a family.
What a great family.
Wife's a pig.
And
Dad killed one of our most inspiring presidents.
Remember when Ted Cruz was like, let me tell you something, Donald Trump. And like,
oh, wasn't that like a 90s movie he was quoting too? It wasn't even like his own line.
It wasn't even so much that. There was some quality about it where somebody was standing to the side of him.
Haley Jackson, I think it was.
Yeah, and was like, so are you going to vote for him? Well, there was like he immediately, it took him no time at all to reveal the fact that he was just lying. So here is Ted Cruz, and this should be a fairly quick assessment for anyone who is sentenced. Certainly a U.S. senator should have a fairly accessible take as to whether or not the president can pardon themselves. I happen to think that there's a decent argument that you can't indict a sitting president, that the indictment is, in fact, impeachment, and that you can impeach and then convict in the Senate, and then they are susceptible to the typical process, but that there is a special process for indictment for the president, and that's called impeachment. I may be wrong or right. I mean, maybe time will tell, but I also think that the courts would be less willing to do this. But the idea that the president can pardon himself is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. The idea that the president can't obstruct justice is absurd. Here's Ted Cruz with a answer right off the top of his head.
To assess.
Senator, the president says he can pardon himself. Would you agree with that?
That is not a constitutional issue I've studied, so I will withhold judgment at this point.
There you go. Is that the first time in the history of Ted Cruz's life that he has claimed not to have knowledge about something so much so that he couldn't respond? Is there ever been a time?
The guy talks about cooking bacon in a sort of like shockingly arrogant and pedantic way. That is absolutely the first time. And I do have to say, he was caught lifting quotes from a movie called The American President with Michael Douglas. So even his whole, like, you're not fit to be in the same room as my wife, sir, was just lines from like a mediocre 90s movie.
Jesus. Wow.